All right, good afternoon, good morning, everybody. My name is Springfield City Council Davila, and this is the subcommittee meeting of the Sustainability and Environmental Subcommittee. Today is August 4th, and the time is 11:12, and we're calling this meeting into order. Here in the chambers, we are joined, actually, we're going to go from left to right to the us.
Okay, I'm Denise Caputo, president of SCANS.
Denise Caputo.
Juan Latorre, member of SCANS.
Frank Ryan,
Frank Ryan.
treasurer of SCANS.
Joshua Ken. And remotely, we're being joined by Councilor Govan. Good to see you, Councilor Govan. And then we are joined by Alex Sherman, correct, from the Forestry Division. So today we are having a continued discussion on the woodland ordinance. We met about 2 weeks ago, I believe, right, Jay? 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, perhaps.
Yes.
And we have somewhat of a draft document for potential ordinance. And I believe that at the time, you and Alex were going to go back and do some research for that ordinance. And so I believe you do have an update as well. So I turn the floor over to you, Jeff.
Thank you, Councilor Davila. So just by way of redocumenting where we're at with this process, after the first meeting we had maybe 6 weeks ago, the law department recommended that in lieu of considering a redraft of the urban woodlands ordinance that SCANS had written through their own work and research, that instead the organization put together a summary document that explains what the goals of such an ordinance would be. And then the law department would in turn take that and put it into an ordinance that reflected the language of law of the city of Springfield's charter and ordinances. So since our last meeting, it was suggested by City Forester Alex Sherman that we take a field trip and analyze what the process might look like if a potential developer was interested in clear cutting a portion of a lot and had to perform the work, the forestry survey work, to determine within a wooded parcel that qualified for protection under this ordinance, which trees would be under the scope of this ordinance, and how one might do so that if an application was submitted to the city for a woodlands removal ordinance, what that documentation process would look like, and how would the city be able to ascertain what a potential fee might be should that removal of trees be approved. And so I'd say maybe 7 or 8 business days ago, I met with Alex Sherman and another member of his department to conduct a field survey off of Parkerview Street, where there is a wooded lot, approximately 50 by 150 square feet. So large enough for one large single family home. And it was a very enlightening experience. Number one, to watch Alex and his team do their work, just to see the professionalism of the forestry division, was really exciting for me. But number two, it helped to provide some context of what we are trying to propose in a real world scenario. And what we took away from it and what we have incorporated into the summary, which if you turn to page 2, the council staff was nice enough to put in red. Watching the forestry department conduct the survey and go tree to tree, document the diameter, the species, rule out certain trees, rule in certain trees, look at the lot lines, identify any significant trees. I believe I speak for Alex as well as Stans that we concluded that small lots, it would be very appropriate for the city as part of this process to go out and ask a trained professional to identify each individual tree. You could imagine a 50 by 50 lot, maybe it only has a dozen or 2 dozen trees on it. That process doesn't take too long and doesn't seem overly burdensome. But if you extrapolate that, say, to a 15-acre lot with thousands upon thousands of trees, that process to go individually tree by tree would be extremely burdensome and not realistic. And so I'm going to leave some of the technical points to Alex, who's better equipped to talk about it. But the general idea would be that this summary has been updated to explain the concept, which is that a smaller lot of a size yet to be determined, that's to be discussed, would require that sort of detailed analysis. And then larger lots, again, of a size to be determined, would use what I believe is called a point sampling analysis. And again, he'll get into it in more detail, but the general idea is you could take a small portion of a very large lot and you can use existing data, not only field survey, but also USGS data, and you can kind of extrapolate what the forest on average would look like in terms of tree density and size of trees. And that would allow a professional to make a similar type of estimate for the purposes of calculating the cost of clear cutting without having to analyze every single tree over a huge parcel.
Right.
So again, in conclusion, I submitted this updated document in email to the council and the council staff, as well as the legal department, so that there's the latest and greatest. And I would say, again, it was really informative to see a real world application of what this might look like. And, I would defer to Alex for the substance.
Sure. Thank you, Jay, for the update. I also want to recognize that City Council Attorney Ken Shea has joined us remotely. Thank you for joining us, Ken. Alex, floor is yours.
Sure. So I guess I'll just do a brief overview of kind of what we did and what the results were, and then another quick calculation that I did just to put everything in context. So we looked at a vacant parcel at the end of Parker View Street. It was a completely forested parcel, 50 by 150 feet. So we approximated the plot lines when we arrived, and then proceeded to inventory every tree above 9 inches on the property. And that resulted in a total of 40 trees, I think 39 to 40 trees that we measured as part of the survey. I can show my results if people are interested.
Sure,
See if I can share my screen.
Excellent.
So if people can see this. So can you see my cursor?
Yeah, would you mind zooming in a little bit more? If you don't mind. That's excellent. Thank you. Good.
Okay, so just to explain what we're looking at our species, which is a 4-letter abbreviation for the different species that we encountered. Mostly you're going to see this Pinus strobus, which is eastern white pine. It was a predominantly pine stand, but also with some mixed oaks as well. But so we went around, measured each tree, and then took a diameter, which you can see here are listed in the second column. And then I did a basal area calculation, which is the cross-sectional area of the stems, to get a per acre measurement of that. It's just a forestry measurement of stand stocking. So once we did that, I'll scroll down to some of my summary results here. There was a total of 609 inch diameter inches on the site. The average diameter was a little over 15.5 inches, and a total of 67.5 square feet per acre basal area on the site. So it was about a 1/6 acre lot, 7,500 square feet. And so when we extrapolate that out, you're looking at an average diameter of, well, so then I used some of this data and entered that into, use this table, which is a forestry stocking table, produced by the U.S. Forest Service, widely used by foresters to determine forest stand stocking levels. And then with that information, was able to come up with a average trees per acre of 235 trees per acre. And when you multiply that out by the average diameter, and then, well, actually, let's start here. The mitigation cost, because we have an exact amount. So if you take just that simple 609 inches in diameter, and you multiply that by the $50 per inch requirement that's currently in the draft, you get a mitigation cost of $30,450. So to clear this lot edge to edge for development with this ordinance as it currently stands would cost a developer or a property owner an additional $30,000.
Alex, if you allow me to interject real quick, Alex, I understand the 609 is diameter, but how many actual trees were there? So that I can
39.
30, you did say that at the beginning, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So if you extrapolate that to an acreage, so for 1 acre, that would be $179,000 per acre of mitigation costs. So this is a particularly mature forest stand. It was a lot of large trees. And so we could imagine that every lot is going to be a little bit different. Every lot's going to have a different, composition of trees and size classes. And so I did some quick calculations, which I don't have here on my screen. So I can stop sharing at this point. But if we have a stand with an average diameter of about 9 inches, at a 60% stocking level, that mitigation cost per acre would be around 67,000. So just in around half of where we were with the mature stand. And so that's kind of representative of a stand that has much smaller trees, an average diameter of only 9 inches, where the stand we measured had an average diameter of over 15 inches. So I thought it was an interesting kind of exercise. I think it put things in context and gave, I think, hopefully it will give the committee some idea of the potential costs associated for the mitigation costs, as well as just an understanding of the amount of work that may go into conducting one of these surveys. I think it took us about an hour to do this. So a single lot is not, as Jay mentioned, it's not a huge lift to do a single lot. But once you extrapolate that to multiple acres, I think different. You'd have to use the sample methodology at that point.
Okay. All right. Anything else, Alex? Okay. I believe you mentioned, Alex, last meeting that we are the committee with the lowest fee Is that correct? Like $50 is still lower than other parts of the Commonwealth?
So $50 is what we use for our mitigation fee for street tree removals, public shade tree removals. And that's where we set it at for when we redid our ordinance. There are other communities that charge higher rates than $50 per DBH inch. But that's also for street trees. So that's when you're talking individual trees or, one or two trees on a tree belt that are being removed for some type of development.
Okay, all right, thank you, Alex. So Jay, so this document in front of me is just basically the summary that we are ready to get to the law department.
That's right.
Okay.
The one section in red, Counselor, that basically reflects what you just heard Alex speak to.
Okay.
The acknowledgement that what we did in our example works great for a small lot, but you have to have a different mechanism if there's a big clear cut closed.
Gotcha. Councilor Gowon, any thoughts?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. So I just wanted to thank the team, especially Jay Latorre and Scans, for continuing to move this forward. And thank you, Chairman Davila, for continuing the work as well. Alex, that was a very impressive presentation, and I'm excited to see that the work can be done. And it doesn't seem, you might think it's a lot, but it doesn't seem like it's too much work to do that. And you did it, right? We also have, some good collaborations with, I think, Regreen Springfield. So I'm hoping, that we can move this forward sometime sooner rather than later, because I just drove by the Ward 7 lot that was clear cut, and I see the houses going up, and it just makes me sad that, even the people that those houses are being built for, there's not going to be any trees, or not a lot of trees there for them to have, fresh air to breathe. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councilor Gowon. All right, anybody on the person, Francis?
I think it's key that Alex has pointed out what could be done, what presently is being done on a tree belt, $50 a tree for one or two trees. You take that forward to a single family lot, and where they would assess the exact cost of removal of the larger trees. Then you move on to the larger area, where there has to be some sample methodology. And I think as the ordinance begins to take shape, this is a terrific basis. And I thank you, Alex.
Thank you, Frank. Mr. Caputo? Any thoughts?
No, I was just gonna repeat what Frank said. It's really great work. I'm really pleased for everyone who has been doing it. It means a lot to all of us.
All right, thank you. Attorney Shea, have you had a chance to look at the summary as of yet? Did you email it to him as well?
I'm sorry, have I reviewed it?
Yeah, would you read?
Yeah, I've looked at it. It's extremely thorough and well thought out.
Excellent.
But the final analysis, the law department has someone that will go through the ordinances and make sure everything's in order. So that still needs to be done, but certainly a lot of work went into it. It's very comprehensive, and it's
Right.
also, the language is quite clear on everything. So
Right.
I just think we need to get that final review.
Thank you, Ken. So I think then, Ken, that we are ready to move this up to the law department so that you guys can start shaping this into an ordinance.
Okay, I'll give a copy of this to the city solicitor and have them work on
Do
it.
you think you can have some sort of a rough draft in like 3 weeks or so?
Well, I'm not the one doing it, but I certainly will let them know that that's the timeline that you're looking at. Okay,
Yeah, in about 3 weeks, that we're gonna start putting something together. I will come back, start looking at it, and then, so we can move forward, and then council will go and say that we can, bring this up to the chamber for discussion.
okay.
Alex, any thoughts on the timeline? Are you okay with that timeline? Think that,
Well, I would think at least 3 to 4 weeks would be a reasonable timeline. I mean, it's very comprehensive, and we've got some other stuff from the council we're working on also. Yes.
okay, all right. All right, anything else then?
Yeah.
Jay?
There's just a couple more points I wanted to mention, Councilor Daffalo, just for the edification of everyone here. So, as Alex mentioned, in the example that we showed, the 50 by 150 lot, coming up with that total mitigation cost of 30,450 for a full 100% clear cut. Now, the summary and the initial ordinance, as it's written today, and of course the council will ultimately debate, technically doesn't allow a 100% clear cut. It caps it at 75%, right? You know, because ultimately the goal of this organization is to prevent full clear cuts. And the hope is that this ordinance will encourage developers to look critically at parcels where trees do have to be cut, to say, you know, okay, I know I have to cut here because I have to build my house and I have to run in my lines from water and electric and sewer, but let me leave this part undeveloped and uncut. Number one, because it adds to the beauty and character of the home, but number two, now there's cost, right? And it's business at the end of the day. So, you know, just to kind of provide an example, a 50 by 150 foot lot is a little irregular, right? You know, a 50 by 100 foot lot would be the minimum 5,000 square foot lot that a home could be built on in the city, 5,000 square feet without a variance. So in a hypothetical scenario where this was a lot that was easily developable and this was in place, maybe that developer would come to the city and say, I want to clear a 50 by 100 portion, 400 foot portion of this lot. But I don't want to pay all those costs. So I'm going to leave the remaining 50 by 50, say in the backyard. I'm not touching that, right? So now that mitigation costs, that was once $30,000, in very simple math becomes $20,000. And in the way, there's still development and there's still woodlands that are preserved. The other thing I just wanted to emphasize that Alex brought up that was really important was that, because I'm just going to speak for myself and I'm the advocate for this, the $30,000 was kind of sticker shock, right? That's a lot of money. Because this example parcel is not a parcel where you could build two homes on without a variance because of the size. We talked about the fact that this was more of a, I'll use the term worst case scenario. It's great for the environment because it happens to be, for a city like Springfield, a more mature forest. But in other scenarios, like Alex alluded to, that same size parcel might exist with trees that don't have the same type of diameter. And accordingly, you know, I don't know the numbers and I don't know if Alex does, but if you had that same parcel where the average diameter, I think he said of the 39 trees was 15.6 inches. If that same parcel's average diameter was say 9 inches per tree, that cost then comes down again because it's that total diameter breast height, you know, calculation. So if every one of those 39 trees is 6 inches thinner, you cut what is 40 times 6, 240 diameter breast height inches out of the equation. You probably cut down that number by a third or something like that. And so, that's why I think as written, the changes are valuable because it could be valuable to a developer that is working on, say, sometimes we have used the term scrub lot, where, you know, it looks like a beautiful woodland, maybe to outsiders, but in reality, there's very few mature trees, the type of trees that are really impacting, you know, climate change through carbon sequestration on the lot. And so potentially there could be some examples where the costs are much lower because there just really aren't a lot of trees there that meet the requirements. So I thought those points were really helpful, because I think Alex made this point and I'll second it. There's no two lots that are going to be alike. And so I think that ultimately the council will just have to, you know, once the ordinance is prepared, you know, they'll have to weigh some of those variables to try and figure out, you know, where's the middle ground, recognizing that no two lots are going to be exactly the same.
That's a
So,
very, well point, good point, Jay. I have to say that it appears to me that, with this, we are, for lack of better words, we have eating okay, how okay, I mean, it's where we continue to have good, meaningful development, and we're also saving, of trees and more forest. Because, they're critical for the environment, and we need oxygen to breathe, and so we cannot forget that little detail, right? No oxygen alive, things like that. So, Camden, you're gonna be talking to Steve, to the solicitor, you know, 3 weeks or so, we're gonna have a draft that we are going to start taking a look at. And so I will schedule a meeting out, you know, 3.5 weeks, as you guys know. And, unless anybody else has any thoughts, any last comments? No?
Great progress.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, I think so too, Frank. I think it's great progress. And I have to say, the compliments to you, Jay, and to Scans, because you guys have really
Well,
done respect for us.
You've done a great amount of work.
Yeah, and Councilor Govan, who started, what, 2 years now, Councilor Govan? So, a year and a half, 2?
Yes, it's been now over 2 years.
Yeah, so,
And Alex Sherman's input was invaluable.
yeah, Alex, anything to say?
Absolutely, absolutely.
I really
So-
can't, and I'm sorry, Councilor Dowd, I can't emphasize it enough. It was fascinating to watch Alex and his team
Well,
do the work. You know, I believe we have a first-rate forestry division within the city of Springfield. It was,
We do.
for someone who is not a forester, it was really informative. So thank you, Alex.
All right, then, with that being said, it sounds like we have a plan to move forward. We schedule on what, 3.5 weeks of the meetings.
Great.
By then, we should have the draft on what this will look like. And then, after that, if everything's kosher, we're gonna move it up to the chamber, for first step / discussion. Okay?
Very good.
All right, with that being said, now, the time is 11:39, and, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank
God
you.
bless.
Thank you. Have a good day. Thank you so much.